So let's take it from the top. Let the people know about your upbringing growing up in New Jersey.
Well, I'm born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, Irvington, New Jersey. Irvington is like a small township from Newark. I grew up in an environment on Chancellor Avenue was my neighborhood block. I grew up, selling drugs, trying to sell drugs at a young age. My family, my brothers, my cousins, we pretty much was those that ran my block and my neighborhood. You know what I mean? So growing up at a young age, it was nothing but violence around me. Murdering, killing, drug dealing. But I was able to, at a young age, realize that that's not the life that I wanted for myself, even though I didn't know how to get out of that environment at that particular time. But one of the things that helped me escape that type of life was me writing, you know what I mean? Me writing poetry. And I would say that really saved my life by the permission of God, you know?
Right. So you had a tough upbringing. You started writing poetry to escape from the reality that was going on around you. When did Tupac come in the picture? Give me the backstory on that.
Well, I met Pac through Gaddafi, the Alfeo. Me and Gaddafi, we met probably when I was about 8 or 9 years old. And his moms used to come to my neighborhood. His mother, Jasmine, beautiful woman, a very nice woman. You know what I mean? Even though, unfortunately, we're not in touch anymore, but she just always been a good person. So she used to bring me from my neighborhood. My neighborhood was rough, like the hardcore ghetto. Montclair, where Gaddafi and them was from, it was pretty much the suburbs, a very good neighborhood, nice environment. But they had a bad part about it. They had a bad street called New Street. This is where all the ghetto kids would hang out on. That was Gaddafi block, Fatal block, and eventually Young Noble block. You know what I mean? So years after falling out of contact with Gaddafi, I happened to run into his mother. I was a young teenager, maybe 13, 14 years old at this particular time. And she asked me what's up with me, what I'm doing with my life. I told her I was trying to pursue a career in the music industry. She told me her son is doing the same thing, and he's the brother of Tupac Shakur. You know what I mean? So to my surprise, I knew Pac. You know what I mean? Growing up, I always leaned towards West Coast music. So it was more of the music from the West Coast was more of what I was going through at that particular time in my life, you know. It wasn't too many East Coast rappers that were speaking about gangster stuff. So I always leaned towards West Coast music. So when she told me Gaddafi is the brother of Pac or half brother or step brother, something like that, and that they was in New York, I was able to go get back in touch with Gaddafi and Pac. So when I met Pac, I would say about 14 years old, 15 years old at the latest.
So you meet Tupac at the age of 14 or 15. Take me through that journey of you dropping out of high school, going to Atlanta, and joining the group with Tupac.
Well, basically, I got kicked out of school. You know, we got a principal that came in, a new principal, and she asked for the top 100 names of the worst students, the worst people in the school, and my name was on the top 10. And she was like, basically, if you mess up again, you get kicked out. And I didn't take it serious because all the principals before that was like the homies, and they didn't really care, it seemed like, you know what I mean, if we failed or whatever. So she was serious. She came to shake up and change and make sure that she put her rules down. So when I messed up, she kicked me out of school. Then I went to night school, you know what I mean? So I got kicked out of school, started going to night school because my grandmother wanted me to continue school. But at that particular time, my concentration and my focus was on music. I already met Pac. They went back to Atlanta. So after getting out in trouble, didn't finish the school, I called Gaddafi and I said, I want to come to Atlanta. Or they invited me down, or I forgot exactly how it happened. So the homies, my man C and Shala B, they from my neighborhood, they gave me the plane ticket money. Back then, airline ticket was a lot, you know what I mean? So early 90s. So they gave me the airline money to go to Atlanta, and that was history. I flew down to Atlanta, and they welcomed me with open arms. It was Edie down there, Gaddafi, Pac wasn't, when I first got there, Pac wasn't in town. I think he was in New York. And like 2 days later, we went to pick him up from the airport. So Gaddafi and myself, Gaddafi, Edie, and Kay, we got in the black Benz, one of Pac cars, and went to the airport and pick him up. And this was the time before 9/11, so you can walk all the way to the gate and wait for, whoever you're picking up from the airport to come out. So we got to the gate and Pac came out, and I don't think he even knew I was coming. So when he seen everybody, he's like, "Oh, Mutah, what's up, man? When you get out here?" He was surprised to see me out in Atlanta. So we just started, from the time that he got out to Atlanta, he started going to, he put us in the studio. My whole time, I wanted to be a solo artist. So I never was expecting Pac to put me in the group with him. You know what I mean? So when we started doing songs together, he decided to put me in a group. And at that time, we was called the Young Thugs. A lot of people don't know we went from being Young Thugs to Dramacidal, then to the Outlawz.
Hey, yo, tell me if this true. When you recorded your first song as a member of Tupac group, you brought Tupac to tears?
We was recording, the first song. When we got out there, the first song, I forget the name, Killing Fields, I believe the name is. When he heard us do that song, Killing Fields, I came up with the hook. See, the Outlawz, Edie at that time was Big Mouth, K was K-Dog, and Gaddafi name at that time was Hollywood. They was always grimy. They always had their lyrics, but when I came with more something just from the streets. Like the first hook was like, Killing Fields, talking about killing and murder. Gaddafi had that in him too, from Jersey, you know what I mean? And we all had our own unique style. But I guess when Pac heard that song, man, it took him to tears. And he was like, this is what I was trying to get out of y'all. And he was like, from that day on, he was like, man, I'm going to call y'all the Young Thugs. He went to the studio with us a couple of days, and it would just work, you know what I mean? But when we wasn't in the studio, we just chilled at his house. From day one, they treated me like family, you know what I mean? Pac, his moms, Glow, Castro mother, they just good people, you know what I mean? They good people, and they have that side of them that, that people don't really get to see, that Pac side there. He's just a genuine good dude. Because he didn't have to, you know what I mean? He didn't have to help me, because even before like when I first met him, man, I was trying to get him to listen to my demo for like months. Like, man, when is dude gonna listen to my demo? He was just feeling me out all that time, you know what I mean?
Right. If I'm not mistaken, when you met Tupac, that was around the same time Tupac got accused of rape and got shot at Quad Studios, right?
It was pretty much around the same time, and that's why in the book I probably go into more details more than what I can do right now, but I can break it down. It was pretty much when I first met Pac. I think maybe like a year, 6, 7, 8 months later to a year. That's when he started going through all of that. You know what I mean? And I was actually in Atlanta with him when the phone call came that he got shot. So not with him, I mean Atlanta at his family house when the phone call came that he got shot, and it was definitely. Pac, he's a soldier, you know what I mean? So when he called and spoke to everybody at the house, he got on the phone. They put me on the phone with him, and his exact words was, "You didn't think that I'd let them take me from you so soon." I can't go into too much details, bro, because I gotta get y'all to get that book, but but you know what I mean. But so when that happened, man, it was difficult. Even like I said in my book, I'm gonna go into more details about his paranoia at that time. He wasn't really trusting nobody. That's why he checked himself out the hospital. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm not going to stay in the hospital, be sitting duck while these dudes might come and try to finish me in the hospital. So Pac was like, no, I'm not going to, you know what I mean? But when word got back what happened, you hear all types of rumors that he shot himself and stuff like that, which is far from the truth. You know what I mean? Pac just was the type of person, he had them guns on him. And when they came and, tried to rob him, Pac pulled out getting ready to shoot. You know what I mean? I think he might have let one off, and then that's when they started shooting at him. You know what I mean?
Right. But if I'm not mistaken, tell me if I'm wrong. Big Scratch was the one relaying messages to Tupac while Tupac was in the hospital, right? From Jimmy Henchman.
Well, we was at now the world knows Jasmine God house at that particular time. Jasmine God Pac he was staying at her house while he was like, just some healing up, getting his strength back, and Stretch was coming back and forth. Saying Jimmy Henchman. I remember he was like, Jimmy Henchman said, you don't want to go to war, you don't have your money right. And I'm like I said in another interview, from a street dude, that was all strange to me. You know what I mean? Because I was like, and Pac, there's a lot of things that happened Pac shared with us, and a lot of things that happened he didn't want to share with us. You know what I mean? He didn't share with us. But for me, being a street dude at that particular time, I said, that didn't sit right with me. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, Pac, if that's your boy, how is he bringing you messages from the enemies? It just didn't fit right with me. You know what I mean? So, I heard interviews with Big Scratch brother, and he's my man. You know what I mean? Big Scratch brother, Madge, he's still connected with a lot of the Pac family in L.A., and he had his side of the story, why certain things happen. And at the end of the day, you never know, bro. It's between, you know what I mean? It's between, God knows. Like, God knows the truth. So when I heard Madge say his side of the story, and then I spoke to Zayd, and he told me his side. At the end of the day, I just said, it's one of them things where it just got me saying Allah knows best what happened. And if anything we can say about the situation, Pac was definitely hurt the way Stretch handled it. Even if we say, for example, you know what, we don't really have 100% proof that Stretch was down with it. Let's say we want to say that, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it hurt Pac the way he moved. So they fell out, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's very, very, very out of pocket, man. To be relaying messages to your friend from the person that was behind the attack, that's beyond disrespect, man.
Exactly. I like the way we roll. Like I just, you know what I mean. It was I was a youngster, so I couldn't really just get up and say, "Oh, Pop, do this and do that," because Pop was still he was our big brother, he was our leader, he was a soldier, so we let him lead the way. You know what I mean? And but back then, to me, I said, "Nah, that don't sit right. How you gonna come?" You know what I mean? You know, so it is what it is. So they fell out because of that. You know what I mean? And it was a situation, man, that Pop, like the world was making it seem like Pac was just going crazy on everybody and attacking everybody. Nah, he felt like when he was at his lowest, the people that he thought was the closest to him, they all turned their back on him. You know, they all turned his back on him. And that's why when you see Pac flipping out the same way he flipped out on Snoop at the end, it's not for no reason. Pac is not a person he's not a hater like that. He's not going to go around and start dissing and attacking people for no reason. Because if you look at Pac's life before that, he bigged up the East Coast. You know what I mean? He always spoke highly of him. It wasn't until he felt like everybody around him was turning their back on him. And that's the way he, you know what I mean, he handled his business. But it wasn't like he was waking up saying, I'm going to diss this rapper today. No, everybody he attacked or said something against, he had his reasons, you know?
Right, right. So it's a rumor that's been going around for years, and I want to get your opinion on it. How do you feel about people that say that Tupac has something to do with Bitch Scratch murder?
Nah, definitely not. Everybody know, you know, Stretch got it. He got what happened to him was like some street beef that he got into with some New York dudes. And it never got to that point with Pac. I never heard it out of Pac where he even wanted something bad to happen to Stretch. And that's why he said it in the song. You switch sides. I guess your new friends wanted you dead. You know what I mean? Pac said it. And I never heard Pac say any, you know, he was hurt. And hands down, he was hurt. But he never, even his song, You Better Holler at Me. When you see me, you better holler at me. He was still saying when he sees Stretch, I need answers. So, you know, when Pac was around, I never heard him say he want any harm, anything bad to happen to Stretch. You know what I mean?
Right. So it's somebody else I want to ask you about, man. Ed Lover, man. I mean, this dude stay going on platform after platform talking about the whole Tupac Quad Studio incident, and he wasn't even there. So everything he talking about is secondhand information and hearsay. So, how do you feel about that, man? Ed Lover, you know, going on platform after platform, speaking on something that he wasn't even at.
See, the thing is that everybody have an opinion these days. You know what I mean? Everybody going, like you said, he wasn't there. You know what I mean? Everybody have their own opinion. I'm shocked that people are still speaking about the Quad Studio shoot and what happened, what did not happen. A lot of them jokers know exactly what happened, and you know what I mean. Maybe he just wants some shine. But at the end of the day, most of the people that do speak about Pac, as you mentioned, he wasn't there. They probably didn't. Like he knew Pac. You know what I mean? He knew Pac, but he wasn't there to, like you said, he calling what he's speaking on is the count from what he gonna hear from those rappers that was in the studio that day. You know, everybody have their opinion.
Tupac gets shot at Quad Studios. He goes to the hospital or whatever. Then he leaves the hospital because of his paranoia. He go to location to location. Then he finally finds a stable home with Jasmine Guy. Was you in contact with Tupac while he was at Jasmine Guy house?
Was what? Sorry about that.
No, I said, was you still in contact with Tupac when he was at Jasmine Guy house?
I was with him. We was with him. All of us we was actually living in Jasmine Guy house with him. You know what I mean? We had a hotel room not too far from it, but we was there with Pac every day. Like some days we'd go to the hotel and sleep, but majority of the time we would sleep there. You know what I mean?
Right. It seems like she had a lot of love for Tupac, man. Shout out to Jasmine Guy, man.
The Jasmine Guy was a good person, man. She really Pac had a lot of good, you know, people in his life, man, that really genuinely tried to help, and she was one of them. She definitely is one of them.